Hi everyone, my name is Maleeha Ahmad and I work with Yoga Buzz. I'm an outreach in AmeriCorps VISTA. And today we are here with Brittany Hill and we're doing an ongoing series about diversity within yoga. Brittany was a YTT grad, a yoga or teacher training program, and she's also a Yoga Buzz teacher. And she has an amazing program, which we'll talk about later. But tell me more about yourself a little bit first. How did you get into yoga?
I kind of just happened into yoga. It wasn't anything that was really unfamiliar for me at all. I have a background as a dancer, so movement is something that's just kind of been innate since the very beginning of time. But I went to a class with a friend of mine, and we kind of just joked around for the whole hour.
Yeah.
And caused a scene. And then I kind of, let it go. I picked up a couple DVDs and did some at-home practicing, and went to a class actually at Practicing Yoga here in St. Louis, and it was the best yoga class I had ever had. It felt so good inside, like in my body. My spirit felt like rejuvenated, and after I left I felt like, okay, I need to keep doing this. So I went back, and then I went back, and then I went back, and then it went from there.
So how did you find out about Yoga Buzz for their yoga teacher training program?
Well, after I had gone to so many of these classes at Practicing Yoga and really kind of fell in love and found my yoga practice, I felt like this was something that I wanted to bring to the Black community. I felt like a lot of people didn't feel like yoga was something that was for them. And so I felt like I needed to teach. And so that meant I had to do a teacher training. I did some searching to figure out what trainings were offered in the area. I found a couple. Yoga Buzz was one that really piqued my interest, just based off of the ethos and what it felt like Yoga Buzz was about. It felt like it was a good fit, and I talked to a couple people, and they put their stamp on it, and so I'm like, this is it. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about doing yoga, like expanding it to your community, the community that you're talking about, people of color.
So, like I said, I felt like a lot of Black people have felt historically that yoga isn't a practice that's for them. Just because we don't really see ourselves reflected in that mainstream imagery of yoga. You often see, young, thin, white women, able-bodied, and, easily accessible, like they have expendable income, they can go to classes that are $25, and it's not a big deal. That is not the case for a lot of people. So, like I said, I wanted to bring the practice to people that were like me, young Black millennials, other people in the Black community. And so really that kind of meant that I was creating a practice that was like for me, but centered around other people that had the same interests and goals and feelings and struggles that I did as well. So it meant creating a practice that looked different than what practices typically look like in most studios.
So what does that practice look like? Do you incorporate different songs? Do you incorporate music? What does it look like?
So for me, that's a practice that's really sonically based and driven. So I say that my practices are sonically driven practices, meaning that it's really centered around the musical energy that I put into. I take a lot of care to curate a playlist that feels good for me. It's things that I like to hear. So that means there's a lot of hip hop in it. There's a lot of R&B. There's electronic sounds. It's jazz. It's funk. It's whatever feels good. I like to think of music as like the great connector, and I think that a lot of people they feel it. They connect to it. So and it's a big part of the Black community. Music is a lot of us. It tells our stories. It's how we express ourselves, and so all of my classes are heavily based in music. So a lot of the movement that we do, I keep a lot of the movement dynamic, so it's not so much static poses. Although we do spend a lot of time more times.
I was going to say, we sometimes hold some poses.
More often than not. There's definitely some holding involved.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of dynamic movement involved as well, and it feels a little bit like dance, but it's all based on the beat and how the melody's coming through and things like that. So.
Okay. So what is one of probably name one or two top favorite songs that you're like, you know what, I have to include this song in my practice, or a song that just gets you going for your practice, for yoga practice?
Man, that's really tough. Because I like so many of them.
Yeah.
One of them is really easy. Orange Moon by Erykah Badu. That is probably the first song that I decided needed to be a regular, consistent part of my practice.
Okay.
I have an experience called Backtrap Yoga, and whenever I do a Backtrap Yoga class, the last song for Shavasana is always Orange Moon.
Okay.
And it's just something about the way the song comes in, and it comes in so softly and sweetly, and it's just like ready to lull you into that Shavasana place.
Yeah.
So that one for sure.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about Backtrack Yoga, how you started your organization.
So Backtrap Yoga is St. Louis's first trap yoga experience.
Okay.
So for some people, they're like, what does that mean? I don't know what that is. So trap yoga is really just yoga that uses trap music as a part of the soundscape for the class. And trap music is like a subset of hip hop.
Okay.
Just kind of like a genre underneath it. So there's a lot of hard beats, a lot of hard messages. It like hits hard. You can really feel it. Again, connect to it.
Yeah.
So I've created an experience with a yoga. It's an hour-long, all levels session. And it's not just trap music, although that is the like main kind of heavy working portion of the class. Again, it has those other genres that I love.
Yeah.
Electronic, R&B, other hip-hop. Sometimes there's jazz in there.
Okay.
Whatever feels good. And sometimes I do specific playlists, that are themed. Maybe it's like a Southern hospitality kind of style playlist. So we've got all the artists from the South, and that's really where trap music kind of derived from. But there's been all kinds of, different themes.
Yeah.
90s.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So tell me an experience of someone that may not have experienced yoga before, but then they came to your class and like, okay, this has changed my image of what yoga is. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've actually gotten a lot of those stories. A lot of people have either never tried yoga before because they felt like it wasn't something that was for them. They're like, well, I'm not light, I'm not skinny, and I'm not 19, and I don't have $30 to drop on the class.
Yeah.
I also don't have fancy stretchy pants, and I don't drink green juice.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people have come to my class because they're like, well, that sounds interesting. Like trap music, I don't know if that can work, but I'm going to give it a go and we'll see because it sounds fun. And they come and they have a great time. There's other people who have tried classes before and it's been an experience that they just didn't really feel welcome. They didn't feel comfortable. There wasn't anybody in the space that looked like them. They had never done any of the things before, so everything was unfamiliar to them. And I think the reason that it works and that people have such a great experience is because it's in part by the music. So, as I said, we all connect. People that come to this class, they enjoy the different types of music that I play. They can see somebody that looks like them in me instructing the class. And it's a good time. And a lot of people are confused about how trap music, or other rap music can really relax you. But I think when you get into a space that becomes familiar because there's elements that are familiar to you, either by the music or by some of the different types of movement, it allows you to let go. And once you've let go, then you can feel that relaxation come in. You've worked your body hard for an hour, you've stretched things you didn't know you could stretch, and you get to the end, you're finally in Shavasana, and you're like, wow, okay. Like there's a point that I can visibly see people during a class let go.
Wow.
And it's like, I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I'm not nervous about what's happening. I'm not worried about if people are looking at me. Or I can't do this and I feel like I should because other people can do that. You can see them let go and have a good time.
That's awesome. What does that let go moment look like? How can you let go during a yoga practice?
Well, during my yoga practice, usually it looks like probably some laughter.
Yeah.
My classes are not, I don't think you have to be super serious to do yoga. You can have fun.
Yeah.
And so with the music and the different types of movement that I bring into the flow, there's a lot of hip movement in there. So
yeah, there is.
Yeah, you've been to class, so usually that's when people are kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where my hips are. Those are the guys.
Okay.
They don't know where their hips are, but they're having a good time trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And the women, they're like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other stuff is that you were doing, but this I know.
Yeah.
And so you can see people laugh, and once they hear a song that's one of their favorite songs, and they sing along with it, or they rap along with it, that's a moment where you can visibly see people letting go, having a good time. They've given themselves permission to just be present and not worry about either whatever is on their mind before they come, or just any of the worries that come with being in a class that you've never been to before. Yeah. And then there's always that moment in Shavasana where you see people that are kind of restless and trying to get settled, and how still do I have to be, and you can see them fidgeting or looking around, and then they finally just close their eyes, and they come into stillness.
Do you think it has to do with comfort and trust as well?
I think so for sure. I think having somebody in a space where you're doing things that are unfamiliar to you, but looks like you, offers you a certain level of familiarity, a certain level of, honestly, just like approachability and friendliness. You know, I tell people up front in class, this is for you. This hour is for you. So take whatever it is that you want from it. I'm going to offer some things to you. You can take them or leave them. It won't hurt my feelings. I'm just here to guide you through the things that I lay out. So I think that really gives people kind of the ability to trust what they're about to go through, and feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah. So who is invited to your class?
Everyone's invited.
Okay.
It's open to everybody. I do have some regulars and kind of like a regular demographic that usually looks like kind of the young Black millennial or young Black professional. But I've had a wide range of ages and races that come to my class. I've had like 60-year-olds that are having the time of their life. We've got, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. There's been all kinds of,
I love it.
Yeah, everybody.
I love it. So if you had to explain yoga to someone that either has never been to a yoga class before, or done even yoga at home, or someone that has done yoga but, like you stated before, felt unwelcome in a space, how would you talk about yoga? What is yoga?
Oh boy.
Could you even say what is yoga in like a one sentence, or is it just more dynamic than that?
I think it is more dynamic than that. I do try to give some sort of explanation for people, and it usually ends up sounding very far off and hippie. But I can't help it.
Without it being woo-woo.
It's a little woo-woo, but I kind of it's everything. It's all of the things, and it's for everybody. And when people give me that automatic, oh, I can't do yoga because I can't. I'm like, if you can breathe, you can do yoga. So like that's where it all starts. It all starts in the breath, and that's where that connection, that foundation happens, and from there everything else comes.
I really like that. If you can breathe, you can do yoga. Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening. Check out Brittany's class, Backtrap Yoga. Are you on Facebook?
I am on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook at Backtrap Yoga or Brittany L. Hill. I'm also on the other internets, Instagram, all of that at Brittany L. Hill. It's Brittany L. Hill and at Backtrap Yoga.
Thank you. And you can also check out more events, Yoga Buzz, yogabuzz.org, Yoga Buzz on Facebook. And check out our events. We're all about accessibility, and we would be more than happy to have you there. And Brittany is one of our teachers, so you can always come and see her.
So join me at a yoga class too.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thanks.